Hi, everyone. Danielle and Matt Noyes here. Thanks for making the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network part of your daily routine, storms or sunshine.
If you enjoy these videos, we invite you to become a member at patreon.com/1 Degree Outside. Support our mission of continuing to bring accurate weather forecasts and science insights to one and all. Midweek Insights here on a Wednesday, the deep dive into meteorology. Matt Noyes with the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Let's dive into the big ideas that we're going to cover in this video. First of all, it's chilly but dry for now. That's going to change. Some mixed showers come into play Thursday night to Friday morning. We'll look at that. The prolonged chilly weekend storm that will bring snow in spots. We'll talk about why we expect snow to fall and where we expect it to fall as well. Let's start out with the water vapor imagery here. Satellite that's specially tuned to pick up on water in its gaseous form in the atmosphere. That's important because water gets carried by air. So if you can trace the moisture that shows up in the white and the greens, then you're tracing the air. And right now you can see multiple disturbances that are dropping from northwest to southeast, coming into a broad, what we call trough or dip in the jet stream. If I put the jet stream level winds on here for you, that trough has been here for a while, and the jet stream is the fast flowing river of air high in the sky that steers storms and separates cold air to the north from warm to the south. So if you're in a trough or a dip, you're on the cold side of things, and that's exactly where we've been, and that's where we're going to stay into the upcoming weekend. Take a look. Look at the way the jet stream changes getting into the weekend. A big, sharp trough. That means you do get the colder air spilling in across the northeast. The storm that develops will be cold in nature. And then eventually that trough is going to ease next week, which is why we've been saying next week we likely see a slow but steady progression back toward normalcy. Normal temperatures this time of the spring should be up into the 50s. There's plenty of energy that comes into the weekend storm. It starts out diffuse. If you look at today, you get these little rounds of energy that show up in yellow and orange and red, right? But if you play things out over the next couple of days, you see them consolidating. Now, there's something to point out here. Most of this energy, nearly all of it, is coming from the northern stream. It's either coming from the jet stream westerly winds or it's dropping down out of Canada. It's cold by nature. So this isn't one of these events where you're carrying in a lot of warmth. You might get some input of warmth and moisture coming out of the Gulf as the storm develops, but really this is a consolidation of cold energy, which is why it's cold through a lot of the atmosphere, which is why that favors some snow mixing in rather than being something like freezing rain if you had shallow cold air. So there's the storm development happening on Friday across the mid-Atlantic. We go into Saturday, and that's when we really get into our chunk of rain. I can zoom the map in a little bit for you, and you guys see there's actually a break in between a couple of rounds of precipitation. Here's what's going to happen for you. So Thursday's fine. You find increasing clouds. It is dry through the day. After-school sports are going to be fine for us on Thursday. Friday, I actually think after-school is going to be fine too, but it's overnight Thursday night. You can see the snow in blue, the green representing rain, the showers that are in, and Friday morning, it's still coming down. Now, it's fairly light. It's going to be raindrops in southern New England, snowflakes in the north. I'll show you how much in just a second. It won't be a lot. And it probably takes until about 11 a.m. or noon to get that to totally break up. But in the afternoon on Friday, we should have this nice break that lasts into the evening. If you have Friday evening plans, I think you'd be just fine. And then as we get into Friday night, the next round of rain comes in. And here is the rain on Saturday that's not just rain, right? The blue is snow. The pink is a mix. We're dealing with that even in the hilly terrain of southern New England. It comes down throughout the course of the day, Saturday night, and Sunday for that matter as well, though Sunday is probably mostly raindrops, and most of that confined to the eastern half of New England, but a northeast wind coming in off the ocean. It will be a raw weekend on both weekend days, that chilly, raw feeling. Here we go again, right? In terms of precipitation and what you're going to get, if you melt it all down or just take rainfall amounts, depending on where you are, you've got over 2 inches. It's on the way in some parts of southeast New England. You've got over an inch for almost all of the southern half of New England. Then the amounts drop off the farther north that you go. In terms of snow, it looks like Thursday night and Friday morning, the Green Mountains may pick up 2 inches if you line it up with the legend at the top where the blue is, generally a coating to an inch. And you can see for the rest of us, I think the temperatures are probably warm enough that even if snow mixes in or it comes down as a wet snow, it doesn't really stick and accumulate all that considerably when you get outside of the higher terrain. Then if we look at what happens on Saturday into Sunday, this is where you've got a chance for something to stick again, particularly on, I would say, as we get into Friday night. During the day on Saturday, it's a possibility. The only thing is, this time of the year, we've talked about the last several events, right? Unless you have temperatures that are very close to freezing, which we've done in parts of northern New England,
it's hard to get it to add up all that much. That's why we've kind of held this to the hilly terrain. I think it's mostly going to be limited to the grass. If we can find that temperature sneaking down to 33 or 32, that starts to promote a problem on the roads. That is a possibility with elevation in some of the northern Worcester Hills, in western Mass, and then also in parts of northern New England for that matter as well. Wind is not going to be ripping with this event. I mean, you're going to feel it, but Saturday's wind, gusts are 20, 25 miles per hour. That's probably that way into Saturday night, maybe gusting to 30 on the Cape. Sunday is actually a stronger wind coming out of the north and northeast. That's going to be gusts of over 30 miles per hour. Again, none of this is enough to cause damage. All of it is enough, certainly, to hurt the psyche. It's going to feel awfully chilly and raw when you figure in the moisture as well. So again, we talked about Thursday, tomorrow, the increasing clouds over the course of the day. It's not a bad day, though. I mean, you've got a gentle wind coming out of the south and southeast, so right at the coastline, you'll be cooler than you are through the interior, but everyone's generally 45 to 50, which, as I mentioned, is colder than normal, right? Thursday night, this is why I'm not overly concerned about a lot of sticking. Yeah, Pittsfield may get down to 32, and that's where you saw Western Mass, the Berkshires heading up in through the Green Mountains. That's your best chance of getting a couple of inches of accumulation to come in on Thursday night. Friday, the temperatures actually are able to rebound because remember, we get that break during a lot of the afternoon, and that sets you up at a spot where Friday night, you're looking at temperatures that mostly are mild enough that even if you do bring it in as some snow across particularly the higher terrain of the interior of southern New England, you still are going to have a hard time getting it to stick too much off the grass. And then on Saturday, your temperature comes up to about 40, which doesn't feel good, but it does mean wet, not white in a lot of spots, at least, again, with the exceptions of the areas that we looked at on the snowfall map a short time ago. Sunday, I do think that you're held in the 40s, and it's going to be a raw feel throughout the course of the day with the wind off the ocean, and then we improve next week. And if you want more on next week, you can either find it in our pattern predictions video that we posted early this week that looks out 2 weeks, or at this point, I would suggest use our app, right? The 1 Degree Outside weather app on the App Store and Google Play. So there's plenty still to watch. We'll fine-tune the details as we get closer to it, but this really kind of lays it out for you as to where we think things are heading based upon the latest information. Look forward to seeing you always with updates at 1degreeoutside.com and on the home screen of that app.